come out next Wednesday. Oh,
Okay.
we're live. There we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Get Up Girl. I am your gal, Joanna Vargas, and today I have somebody very special in my life. She came
Hmm.
into my life where I was at a place where I was asking questions about my business. Now, true story. I remember noticing that business coaches were a thing. And I remember asking, you know what? That sounds really cool. I wonder where I can find one of those. And no joke, a couple days later, I'm at an event and Marianne Evan Jeff is up and she's speaking to us at this event called Power Babes. And I walked up to her afterwards and I just started to grill her with 47 questions. And then
Yes.
after that, I joined her group and it's been magic ever since.
Mm.
Maybe 10 to 15 years ago. I don't even know I was thinking about it, but welcome, Marianne, to the Get Up
Thank you.
Girl. Thank you for
Thank
being here.
you. It's really good to be here. It's really good to be here. And I so admire what you're doing. It's fantastic to watch you with all the interviews and really bringing more vulnerability out into the awareness for people, because I think a lot of times people think that there's like this trajectory that goes like this, like I have an idea and then everything's great. And it isn't like that. The evolution of us, whether it's working towards a business or a career or personal goals, it tends to be up and down. And the more that we hear stories of people and we learn about how it is about getting up and
Yeah.
falling down and getting up, I think that allows us all to be able to create more momentum for ourselves. So thank you for bringing that to the front and forefront.
That means a lot to me. Thank you so much
Mm.
because I was talking to my boyfriend, my partner the other day about uh certain people in my life that have played a hand holding. That's not the energy that I want to give, but somebody that has helped guide me through my journey. And you have been somebody that has been pivotal on how I've molded my life, my words, my wisdom, my journey. And so I'm really glad that we're going to be able to chat today. And before we press record, she and I, Marianne and I were like, let's just talk about whatever comes up, right? And I love how you said, the journey is up and down and crazy left and right and all which ways and circles and infinities and back and forth. Marianne is one of the people I would say, like, on my fingers, right? That I honestly and truly could say that she's seen every side of me and that I am not afraid to show every side, the actual like ugly, 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 and then like the getting back up side. And I want to go back to what you said about the evolution because you you are a productivity coach, started off as a business coach. Now, Marianne, can you tell us what shifted you? Because I know you, but the listeners that are listening, I mean, you have reinvented yourself so many times more than Madonna, as we all have, right? So, how did that come about?
So honestly, it's funny because reinvented myself, and yes, it can look very much like that. But what I see it as is it's really peeling off layers of the onion. So if you look at from day one, when I started with a group of women at one of the small business association groups, they were like, can you do something for the women once a month? I'm like, sure, fine, absolutely. And from that day, almost 15 years ago to today, a lot of the things that I'm doing or I talk about or the way that I format things is exactly the same, whether I call myself a productivity coach or a business coach, or I actually started out as a life coach and then realized
Mhm.
that it just really turns me on and excites me to work with people who are excited about moving towards something in their career. That really turns me on.
Hmm.
And that's why I focus on business and professionals rather than on life. And the benefit is that honestly, I get to have my cake and eat it too, because as you know, Joanna, when I'm
Mhm.
working with someone on their business, then all the life stuff comes along. I
Mhm.
don't put it in separate boxes. We're
Mhm.
taking it all. So I get to do both. But yeah,
Mhm.
the reinventing has just been it. I think at the beginning, at the very, very beginning, a lot of it was oh my gosh, this isn't working, and I need to say it differently or be something different, or what am I think a lot of professionals struggle with, what am I, especially when you provide a service, because it's not like, oh, I'm selling these notepads or it's this tangible object. So I struggled with that, about figuring out who I was. But when I look back now, I see that it was all just the same things. It's the principles of owning who you are.
I love that, Marianne. That's very much as I, because it's just always so different, but yet it's the same underlining thing. I keep saying the same thing. What I know is that I'm just confusing people because I don't know what to tell people that I do. And you know that I'm doing 42 different things. People are like, what do you do? I do it all. And that is my own living in my little record of what do I do? And it's really falling in love with, well, I do it all. And just the other day, I was at a party and they're like, well, Joanna, you just need to focus on one thing. And my body just like went, no, I don't want to focus on one thing. Shut up. Like, I wanted to fight. I'm like, what is that? Marianne, I got really curious on like, what was that fight energy?
Yeah. And so I'm going to take a stab at it, because I do know you pretty well, Joanna. And I will say that it was fantastic when you first came to me. You not only did you ask me all those questions, then it was like interrogation, and I love it. It's that passion, it's that clarity, and that challenging of me, and getting really clear on how I could be on your team, how I could help you in any way. And you got really clear about it. But I remember at the beginning, I was quite adamant, and I said, we work on one business at a time, because in terms of me working with someone else, I find it really muddies the water when you're working on more than one thing at one time with them. In terms of, of course, there's different little projects and things like that. But, if I'm working on multiple businesses with someone, you already, as you just said, Joanna, are working on all of these things. And that's fine. But then someone can help you better if it's one person working on one thing. I know you've experienced that by bringing different people on to fulfill different roles in your company. But back to the question you were just asking, right? Why do you feel that strong, like, no, I want to do all of them? Perhaps it's because you feel like when somebody's telling you that you can do one thing, what you're hearing is you can't do all the other things.
Yeah.
And you want to do it all. And I believe that we can do it all. It's that fine line of how fast do you want to go? Because it's almost if you're in a hot air balloon, right? If you want to go a little faster, you got to throw some of those bags out, those sandbags. And so if you want to go a little faster, traditionally what I have seen is, at least at the beginning, to get the momentum going, focusing on one thing or a few things at a time will create more momentum. Now, once you've got that going, it is easier to bring in other things. But putting your energy or your focus on one thing at a time does tend to help. But maybe, I mean, did it feel like somebody was saying you can't do these things? That's what you were hearing when
That
you
was the
responded that
energy.
way?
Yeah, on that. And you're absolutely right, because I have learned with you, like I'll take sprints with certain things and the other things are just on pause.
Yeah.
They're on a different what is that when you're cooking food? This one's on the
They're on
the
different
stove.
rings of the stove, right? We put it on the back burner. Okay, that's a phrase I use all the time, because I tend to attract, and I am like you, excited about so many things, tenacious, hungry. What can I do? I want to do this, and I have this idea. There's no lack of ideas. But what I have really learned over the years, and I've preached about it this whole year, and I am not going to stop. And that is this idea of enjoying the journey.
Yes.
Because yes, we can white knuckle it, and we can, as women especially, we can really bring it on and kill ourselves. And it's bittersweet, because we think then we've attained this thing, bam, and it will be so awesome. But I've raised my standards so much over the last decade, to the point now where I demand that I enjoy the journey. I demand it. And that means you have to have time and space. You cannot do that and do 50 things and
Mm.
enjoy the journey.
Time and space, Marianne. That's one big takeaway that I have received with working with you is the white space. And like,
Yeah.
and you've seen my arc, many arcs, but the big arc of I was successful on paper, yet I was not enjoying the journey. But
Hmm.
Marianne, I thought I was enjoying the journey. I really did.
I know it's tricky because we have dysmorphia. I think we have dysmorphia about quite a few things, but
Dysmorphia.
particularly,
Yeah.
I think we have time dysmorphia, which
Mm.
is this idea. I mean, one of the big things I do with the membership and with all the tools and what I write about is about really mastering our time. And what I mean by that is not getting so ninja at it that you're doing all of these hacks that you can get more done. Yes, that's a side effect, but it's really managing your expectations. So often we just were talking about this morning. It feels like we can teleport from one place to another. We don't account for the time it takes to get somewhere. And even in a time where maybe we're not going as many places, there's time that it takes to settle from one task to the next and enjoy having this interview with you and not have it be within 50 different things.
Mhm.
You asked me if I could do this at a certain time. I counter offered you with 30 minutes later because I
Mm.
wanted to breathe.
Got
I
it.
wanted to enjoy it. So I think there's this dysmorphia with how much time we think things take. And just like if we were anorexic and we have to get
Mm.
used to that the vision that we see in the mirror um, is not the true reality. And only we can make that shift. No, I know from experience, people telling me you're doing too much. It goes through one ear and out the other. You have to learn it through your own experience. And so what I do is I provide the tools so that people can see in black and white from their own experience using the tools. Oh, I said I would do these things and this is what happened. I don't feel bad, but now I have some more information and I can see what is possible. And then to go back what you said about and I said dysmorphia about how you feel about things. I
Mhm.
think because of the mentality of positive mindset, and really getting really good at being happy and upgrading our lives through all of the personal development work that we do. I think we are happy. I think that we can be doing a lot and be happier. And so sometimes it can be hard to see that we're burning ourselves out.
Mm.
Sometimes we don't realize until it physically starts
Mm.
affecting us.
Mhm. Gosh, you're so right. Because a couple years ago when I got sick, and that was like sick, not working for 3 months. And Marianne, that 3 months felt like 3 days. That talk about
Hmm.
time dysmorphia. For
Yeah.
3 months just to go "Phew," and to not literally be able to work. It was such a gift. And it was like everything that I had learned and that you had facilitated with me finally made sense. And I'm so grateful that I know one of my superpowers is showing up, hence the Get Up Girl. And
Yeah.
everybody listening, Marianne is the one that came up with the Get Up Girl. She is a wordsmith. That is her superpower. She came up with Live Fully, my tagline. I mean, she pulled it out of me, right?
Yes,
But yet
very
she was,
important.
yeah, was able to see that. And it was such an like it just rang. It pinged me. And that is my superpower is like I keep showing up. I keep showing up. I keep showing up. And so I know that when I finally got it, and look, we're never going to have it perfect like Abraham
No,
says.
we,
Like you said
no, don't
this
want to.
morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't want to, we'd be bored to death,
Hmm.
right? But I thought I had it. And I'm like, wait, no. And now I work out like that, Marianne. My fitness, I tell my clients, you're never going to have a perfect squat. It's never going to be perfect. Your push-ups never going to be perfect. It's never going to be. And it's finally like, yes, that's the whole fun of the journey is finding that perfect squat. And you're never ever going to have it perfect. And so that is one thing that I did take away from you. Gosh, there's so many things I want to talk about.
Oh,
Another
I know.
so another thing that I've taken away from Marianne, because literally I could say this is all the things that I've learned from Marianne is that when you asking what is your favorite moment, and that's my question I ask every day to my boyfriend's like, "What's your favorite moment?" We do it every single day.
Mm.
It's like brushing our teeth. And it is such a cool gift to receive what he is saying and then to go back and replay the day. And the fun part is when you have four favorite moments, and I'll go, I have four. I'm just going to say them. And then you end up having another hour conversation instead of,
Yeah.
watching mindless television at night. Where did you get that? Because you're always talking about your favorite moment of the year, favorite moment of the quarter, the month.
I don't even remember. I've been asking that for so long now. Um, I think what's happened over the last 15 years is that I'm reading so many other books and just exposing myself to so much other personal development work and ideas and programs that I've just been really on the lookout for questions
Mhm.
and refining the questions. I mean, the planner that all the members get and that I've created, it's full of questions.
Mhm.
And what I've learned is that questions like that one are so powerful. I don't know where that one came from, but I think another really good one, they're all so good in the weekly evolution. I mean, I over the last 15 years, I've refined it down to 7 for
Uh-huh.
everybody to ask themselves every week. And it is like gold. Those questions
Mhm.
really cut through. Another one of them is like, what did you put energy into last
Mm.
week or last
Mhm.
year, or however you want to use the question? Because what's interesting is talking about focusing on one thing. If you could put energy into something, but without doing anything,
Yeah.
and that can be a positive or a negative. I mean, it could suck the life out of you if you're worrying about something and you're not doing anything towards it. It's just there.
Mm.
And that's something that took maybe most of your energy last week, didn't go anywhere, but it hijacked you. Or it could be
Yeah.
that if you've been really focused on your one thing, and this is my one main thing for this week or whatever, even if you don't take any literal action on it because you've just defined it as that,
Mhm.
then often things will happen energetically and you've put energy into something without actually doing very much. But I love questions, to go back to what you were
Yeah.
asking, and I'm not sure where that one came from, but I just curiosity, that's how I pull
Yes.
things out of people. I ask questions.
But I love how you said it hijacked you. The energy, it hijacked you. Wow. You talked about the 7 questions in the weekly evolution because every Monday I join your group, go live, and so that we can look back a little bit at our week and then look forward at the week coming up.
Yeah.
Those 7 questions, give us one more so everybody listening, because I think these are
Yeah.
great to go with your
So
partner,
good.
your
So good.
bestie, your family, like on a Sunday dinner to ask these
Yeah.
questions rather than we're sitting
Yeah.
around asking, how is your day? Like, boring. Yes, asking some juicy questions when you pick up your kids from school. Like, what's a question that you can ask them from your weekly evolution?
Yeah, another one is, what would you do if you could have a do-over?
That's the one I was thinking. Yep. Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of a tricky one because we're all pretty evolved now. So
Mhm.
we know that whatever happened and showed up and how it went was the best way it could have gone. So I'm not suggesting there's anything wrong
Yeah.
that needs fixing. But I find that if I look at, I think that could have felt better. It's like you're just really scanning for how
Mhm.
you can upgrade things. It's a way to look for upgrades. And if something didn't work out the way I wanted it to, then I can go, how could I have a do? What would I do differently? It was all good. And being then as specific, this is the key, as specific as possible. And Joanna, I know you've heard me use this example before, but my best example is when I ran out of gas.
Yeah.
I was driving to Arizona with my daughter, and Arizona on the 10 has this chunk of time where there's
There's
no
no
gas stations.
I'll be fine.
I got it. No, not so much. So running out of gas, and if I had now it worked out fine. We laughed our way through it. It wasn't the end of the world. It added to the trip. It gave us a good story. All good. That's how we can be positive. We can enjoy it. But still, ultimately be better if it didn't run out of gas. So then I get to trace that back instead of just settling with that answer. And that's what I do a lot with all of you ladies is you'll give me one answer. I'm going to unwrap it and get to the next answer because, oh, I would have, if I could have a do-over, I would have put gas in the car. No, I'm not going to accept that. I want to hear exactly what would you do differently. And when I retrace it back, I realized it was the day before and exactly when I had that pivotal choice point when I could have put gas in the car. And that was the domino that would have got me going in a different direction.
Wow, that's good. See, little nuggets like that, and I'll be like, got it. Little things like that that I have received from you over the years. It's like, you're absolutely right, because I would have gone, well, I would have put gas next time. No, 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 let's go. And what was it? And what happened? And what went through your brain? I was driving here and I thought, no. And what was it? Because whatever the reason was, oh, next time I could choose different.
Yeah.
Totally.
You just when you use that do-over question, you're basically rewiring your brain so that you have other choices available when you are in a similar position in the future. I love mining things for gold. I look back to mine things for gold, not to, go, oh, where's the origin of this and how did I learn to not put gas in my car and what limiting beliefs get in my way. Not that. We're not looking back for that.
Yeah.
We're looking back for other choice points so that we can load them up into our software and then we have those available to us in the future.
I liked how you said mining for gold. I know you say that often, but I remember when I went to Knott's Berry Farm when I was a young child, and they have like this mining for gold.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was like 8 years old, and I always remember that the gold was so tiny. And they're like, "Look, you found one." And I'm like, "That's it? It's so small." Like in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to get this big rock. So I think, I'm thinking of that. Like it's so tiny, but yet it's worth so much.
So much.
So that's what I never, even though you said it a million times to me, I see it that way. We're mining for gold, the tiny dots that could change and rewire our brains.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know you like a book and vice versa, but everybody listening, I want to go into your story because it's so powerful. One, that you're a speaker and that you went on to that competition. What was the competition that you were in?
It was the World Championship, Speakers World Championship, basically. The international one. It was international contest. Yeah.
Phenomenal. You got, was it second place or?
I got, they have different rounds. So I got through to I forget what it was called, but I was in the top 200 in the world.
Wow.
And got knocked out at the same point 2 years in a row. So that was like my ceiling. So then I took a year off.
As we all did. And then she's done a one-woman show. I mean, so many things. But you started drinking. Gosh, how old were you? In like 12 years old? No, 8.
I was 8. And I grew up in England, in case you didn't notice some weird accent here. I've been here 35 years now, I think, more than that maybe. And I grew up in England, and I always had that like hankering for more. And I grew up enjoying acting and as an actress in England, but always feeling like I never was quite making it. I was always feeling disappointed. I was not getting where I wanted to go, and I didn't understand why. And having been introduced to alcohol, it's common in England. At 8 years old, it may be a little different now, but a shandy is beer and fizzy lemonade mixed together. Well, that's what you give the kids in the pub. That's what they drink. They drink beer. And so it wasn't unusual for me to be drinking at that age. But for me, that became something which made me feel better. I enjoyed how it made me feel when I would keep butting up against this, wanting more, but not being able to achieve it in my life. And that just got more and more and more momentum. And so by the time I was almost 40, I was drinking one of those big 2-liter bottles of red wine one of those at least a day. Usually that wasn't quite enough. So then I would have a few glasses of the next bottle or whatever I could find. It didn't even matter. But it was very high functioning. So I would drink until I passed out. And then I would get up the next morning. I had a daughter. I still have a daughter. I have a very happy marriage. Thank goodness.
Mhm.
And I would just go out and do it. I was starting my business at that time as well. So it was very high functioning. But it just got to the point where I just felt so much guilt and shame. And instead of it being the acting that was the thing that I was feeling disappointed and wasn't getting far enough ahead with, it had shifted into being a business owner and not feeling like I was getting ahead where I wanted to, especially when you're just starting a business. Everybody thinks that it just takes a little while. It takes a long time to really get some momentum. So I just was contending with this guilt and shame, guilt and shame, guilt and shame, which just swung me into more have a drink the next night. And it was a pivotal moment. One day I was chatting with my husband in the kitchen in the afternoon before I'd had a drink yet. And he said something to me, and I realized that it's a conversation we'd had the night before, but I could not remember that conversation. And I realized that had happened for quite a while, but I didn't want to admit it to him. So then that's when I started just stop talking to him as much. And that was bottom for me. That was when I hit bottom, when I realized to avoid him knowing the person I love the most on the planet meant that I had to pull back away from him. And that's when I really decided I want to do something about it. And so I remember his family has a tradition of making sausages. They're German. And so he was going with my daughter. They were going to Fresno to make sausages with the family. And I wasn't going. I had something else going on. I'm vegetarian anyway, so not really big deal to make sausages for me. And I remember kissing him goodbye. I looked him in the eye and I said, I'm going to figure this out. And we hadn't had a conversation about it. It hadn't been something he'd been pushing me or telling me I needed to do, but we both knew in that moment what I was talking about. And he just kissed me. He didn't demand anything. And I gathered all the books that night. I love books. I've got them all here. Self-improvement, productivity. I had piles of books around me, probably 30, 40, 50 books piled all around me. And I got a whiteboard. I had a big whiteboard there and my pens. And my solution to quitting drinking, and bear in mind, decades and decades of alcohol, gone a year in AA. I'd done a lot of things at this point, but still here we were. So this time around, I decided I was going to read all the books and get the pith, the message, the little piece from each one, almost like being a detective, and that would give me what I needed, right? And so I picked up the first book and I started reading, and then I realized how ridiculous that was. I'm going to sit here and read 30, 40 books, write down the pith on the board. And I realized I would be here till the end of my life. Yeah. And I might be dead of liver disease. So it wasn't really going to help me. But there was something that happened in that moment. As I had that aha, this is ridiculous, there was something that happened where I had this moment, this aha moment, where I suddenly realized, can I swear here? Are we swearing? Are we not swearing?
Go ahead. I'll put the E.
Okay. So I suddenly in my head, I was like, what is the answer? What is the answer to this? And then the aha was, I don't even know what the fuck the question is. And in that moment, I realized why I had been struggling for so long, because I'm desperately seeking an answer, but I haven't gotten clear on what the question is. And that's when my love and fascination, and I really understood the power of questions. And how if we are struggling with something, a question, it gets the wheels from being stuck in the mud. And after that moment, I didn't have a drink, and I never drank since. And honestly, I don't check off, oh, it's been 10 years and 5 days. I have no idea. It's been over 10 years. I have no idea which day it was. None of it matters. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. The
Mhm.
hardest part was getting to that point. But once I made
Mm.
that choice and I had that moment, everything changed. So it really allowed me to see how powerful getting clear on a question and using questions, even sometimes you use questions, you don't even get an answer, but you
Mhm.
loosen things up enough that you get in momentum.
Yeah. So powerful, Marianne. Now I'm as you're talking, I'm thinking, some of the questions that I can ask. So let's do this. Let's play a little role playing. Somebody that's
Okay.
listening and they're like, okay, great. How do I get to that question? So what is something that you could facilitate me or them on how to get to that, the awareness for the
Okay.
question?
Okay. So, um, if you're feeling like you're stuck, right? I'm just
Mhm.
gonna grab something, maybe. I think I have them memorized. It's fine. Um, oh, here it is. So if you're grappling with anything, work, business, doesn't matter what it is. The number one first question to ask yourself, drum roll please,
Mhm.
is what do you want?
Mm.
9 times out of 10, people don't know what they want. They think they know what they want. They haven't spoken it. What were you going to say, Joanna?
It's just like mind bomb as you said that, because my past partner, we would fight, we'd go back and forth, and then I'd ask, "What do you want?" He's like, "I don't know, but I just don't want you to do that." Wait, I can't help you if you don't know what you want. Anyway, but you're so right, Marianne. We don't know what we want, and many times what we think what we want is a check mark. And are you searching more of like for the feeling then?
It doesn't matter. I think just that question will cut through. And then, like the layers of the onion,
Mm,
once you get one answer, you can keep going. Well, why do I want that? What do
okay.
I want from that? You can chew on that question and probably get unstuck. I would say most of the time. What that question does is it addresses your hunger, because you
Mm,
have to be a lot of times when somebody comes to me and they're really struggling, or now and again I'll have somebody join the momentum squad and they never seem to really get it or get anywhere. They're not hungry.
mm.
If you're not hungry and you're at the buffet, it's just kind of like,
Yeah. You're just gonna have a soda and kick it. Yeah.
yeah, right. I'm not interested in that. I want people who are hungry, right?
Hungry.
And I think even in any area of your life, in anything, whether it's fitness, whether it's spirituality, what do you want?
Mm,
So that question will 9 times out of 10 just get you going and you're good. But I have 5 questions. That's the first one. The
okay.
next one is, what are you expecting? Right? So, oftentimes what we expect is this unsaid stuff in our head. We have these expectations, but we haven't actually been honest. We haven't actually put them on the table. Like, for example, you might be going to a networking event
Mm,
and you might be expecting that you're going to get 3 new clients.
mhm.
But the reality is, when you actually ask yourself, what am I expecting? And you say 3 new clients, you realize that's not going to happen. And it's like, can you pop it? You get it out your way, right? And
Yeah.
then sometimes it's like, what am I expecting? Ooh, that's fun. That's exciting. I want to lean more towards that. So that's my next question, because what that does is it really helps with your imagination piece and your beliefs, and how you can pull yourself forward. The
Mm,
third question is, now that you've asked those 2 questions, what action do you feel an impulse to take? So, going with your impulses, enjoying the journey is about time, space, and going with the impulses, not pushing yourself. And it's
yeah.
not an easy habit to get into because we're used to action binging. Binging. You've been in bed 3 months. I've been in bed 6 months. People are burning themselves out through binging. And it is not a long term strategy.
Mm,
We want to enjoy our lifetime, not just a
mhm,
little part of it. So,
mhm.
what action do you feel an impulse to take? Not what action should you take or could you take?
Impulse.
Really listen to your intuition. Number
Mhm.
4 is, as you're going along, you might then think maybe you're not stuck like you were at the beginning with this first question. maybe you've been in momentum with a project or something, and you might ask yourself, well, what's working and why? Just getting curious and asking yourself questions. What's working and why? It's very much what we do in weekly momentum, because we look at last week and we go, what's working and why? What was satisfying? What was my favorite moment? How would I have a do-over? Like, what's working? And that will create some more momentum, because then you're saying more of that, please. And the final question is, I really think it's important to embrace change. One of the big things over the last year as well, I've been encouraging all the ladies to do, is give themselves permission to change their mind. You create a 90-day plan. You can change the line items on it. You can change your goals. Don't stick to it just because you're going to get through it, because that is not fun. So giving yourself permission to change your mind, and even disrupting your reality on purpose regularly, and asking things like, what else is possible? Just because things are going along great, why not? Like, that's like saying, what's the upgrade? So that really taps into the change. Those 5 questions are all based on the 5 elements to own your momentum: hunger, imagination, action, curiosity, and change.
Marianne, so good. I'm going to put these up on Instagram, because I think about when we go through weekly momentum with you, and we go through our one thing, like, what's your one thing for the week? And
Yeah.
last week when I was with you, my one thing was to clean my house. And then you facilitated me on, how long is that going to take you? And it really changed the way I saw it. And I did. I cleaned my house. And every time I heard you go, okay, can you do 1 hour, Joanna? Okay, when? Then you were like, do you want to do it in the morning? And it was like you were really mining for gold. And the reason I'm telling you that is because this week, my new weekly one thing is to clean and reorganize my office. So I already cleaned it last week, but now I want to feel really good and sexy in it. So when you were asking, what do you want? It's not for a clean office. What I want is to walk in and feel sexy. I want to walk in and feel luxurious. I want to walk into my office and feel like I want to record a podcast. I want to be downstairs so that my office upstairs is calling to me, because it is so freaking sexy that I want to walk up there and I'm being called to turn on the record button, because I just want to be in that office.
Yes.
That's what I want. A clean
What
office.
you want, what you want, Joanna, and you're going to recognize this language, is a winning environment. And so what a winning environment is, and it's how I think that we can create momentum, it is one of the best ways, is that they can be physical environments. This is a great example. And you design it so that it's harder to not do something than to do it. So you create an environment. A lot of people, when you say winning environment, they think, well, you just need to clean and organize it. No, it needs to be so everything is so easy and at your fingertips, and it makes your eyes happy and your body happy to be in that, like a magnet. That's exactly what you're describing. It's drawing you towards it. You're creating winning environments. And if we can create winning environments, and they can be physical, they can also be like a winning social environment of who your friends are, how you hang out with your friends, where you meet your friends. You can create winning environments around that, around your mindset, around your finances. You can create all of these winning environments so that it's easier to do things. It's downstream to do things that will move you towards what you want, and it's harder to do things. The example I always use is, and I haven't seen it in decades now, but is The Biggest Loser. I remember when it first came out, the house was full of donuts and pizza, and the contestants would come in, and it was a winning environment for them to lose, for them to lose the show, for them to put on weight. And so the producers had deliberately created this environment where it would create drama, because it was difficult for them to eat healthy. If you want to eat healthy, you create a winning environment by putting healthy things at close by for you to choose from. And so these winning environments are really powerful. Yeah, I love that you want it to be sexy. That's great.
Yes. And these are those tools. I call them level up tools, rather than like so cliche. Okay,
Yeah,
what's your one thing? What's your goal for the week? Like, yeah, we get it, but Yeah, it's that different, like you said, mining for gold. It makes a big difference. It really
It's
makes a big difference.
for me that, what I've drilled down to over the last 15 years, and as I've shifted honestly over the last year and a half to the momentum squad, focusing even more on productivity rather than the nitty gritty, is all of the I've got like 12 tools now that are the main tools that we use all the time. I call them the dirty dozen.
Mhm.
There are 12 tools that are so ridiculously powerful and simple, they should be outlawed. And it's not about doing the tools correctly. It is
Mhm.
about using them as an exercise to upgrade how you're feeling, because we all know from experience, when you're happy, it's more fun to do things. When you're not feeling good and you're sad or down or irritated or frustrated, you're less likely to do anything. And so, if we want to create more momentum, if we want to be open to impulses, if we want to, if I want to have that download of being ready to receive great information,
Mhm.
that'll move me in the right direction, then I have to be in a good frame of mind to receive that. So all of the tools are just designed so not to get to the destination.
Mm.
One of the tools is ideal schedule, and that is just about the exercise of playing with your time within the constraints of 24/7, and if you could put anything in it. But it's not about getting to the end and having the ideal schedule. It's about the process of doing that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you've taught me that. Yes. Playing with the time. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm already thinking as we're talking, we're gonna have to do another one. We're gonna have to
Sure.
do like
Yeah. Yeah.
one a
I want
month.
to do this.
I'll bring you
Yeah.
on again.
Yeah. We
But
could do that.
one question that's like burning me before we put a bow on this one, and then we will definitely meet again. DM us both what questions you have in the future. My
Hmm. Hmm.
biggest question, curious, is what is your takeaway, or what have you noticed working with so many people, professionals, business owners over the 15 years? What is your biggest, like, that you've noticed working with them?
I think we touched on it already, and I think it is this knowing what you want. Coaching session after coaching session, whether it's a group, weekly momentum, or if I'm working one on one with a client, the simplicity of that and the power, it's like a hot knife cutting through butter.
Mm-hmm.
And giving myself permission to go back to those basics, to have that foundation of really those 5 questions. And from there, you can go anywhere.
Mm.
What I had got caught up in was the nitty gritty details of all of the specifics of how to build a business. And you can do, I can sit down and I can help someone create a marketing strategy. I can help them map out a funnel or a lot of those pieces. And I often do in a coaching session, but none of it means anything
Mm.
if we don't first know what they want. Otherwise, what happens is I end up helping them create all the stuff. And I'm sure you've all been there, where you've gone down all the steps of something and then gone, oh, I don't really want this, or I
Mhm.
don't know what to do with this. So
Mhm.
giving myself permission has been, I think, huge, to come back to those basics and make that the main offering
Mm.
that I give. What do you want is key.
Wow. I'm having a lot of like mind bombs because it is so parallel to fitness. I know I'm a stronger fitness coach when I just really focus on the other stuff rather than the actual routines of the fitness. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yes.
the past 20-year-old Joanna would focus on here's the routines and we're gonna change it up and we're gonna do this. Nobody changed their body. Very little of my clients. Now that I make it so simple, and it's not for everybody, but the ones that do get it, they change and I do less, Marianne, and I
Yes.
focus on what they really want, and the fitness part will come. It just
Yes.
falls into place. So very simple. I feel like I'm rebuilding my businesses, Marianne, right now because I did it backwards in my 20s. Like I said at the beginning, I was successful on paper, but miserable. So now I'm rebuilding Joanna, yet my businesses on paper are are on pause, or they're not on the burner right now. And I'm so okay with that, because I'm enjoying the journey now, and I'm like, I will return to that, or it will be different. Maybe not return, but it'll be different. But
And I
is
think that the thing is that I think that you've probably got quite a few people who are listening who are maybe coaches or providing services, even if they're doing it within their job or within a community. And I think there is this tendency that we want to feel valuable. And so we want to get to these nitty gritty, how to do the squats. And
mm-hmm,
oftentimes people, that's the sexy thing that people are
mm-hmm,
drawn to.
mm-hmm,
That's why it's so tricky, because you get drawn through ads or what other people are saying you need to do or doing, to these details of how to do the squat, or that I need to have a lead magnet for my business, or all of these things. But what's really going to move things is when you own your momentum, because then you can do all of these things and you'll have more desire to do them. If you're helping them get to the core of what they want and asking more of those questions,
mm-hmm.
then they might get curious and get a few pointers from you around the squat, but they will have asked for it, they will be ready to receive it, and then they will be able to create a difference with it, as
Mm.
opposed to going in the other direction. They get the information, but they don't really want the information or know what to do with it.
Marianne, amen. Because we have it free on YouTube. Every fitness, whatever you need is right there. Anything for business is right there. And yet it's still difficult. And like you said, it's enjoying the journey. It's everything that we've talked about in this past show. Oh my
But
gosh.
it's going to take, I feel like this is a really good time that
Yeah.
we're living in.
Yeah.
I feel like we're living in a time when people are starting to realize that it's not about the hacks, it's not about the quick fixes,
Yeah.
it's about enjoying yourself more. It is
Ooh.
about taking your time. And
Ooh.
so I think there is an opening for this shift to happen right now. So it's an exciting time. And honestly, I think my job is to just get clearer at communicating these basics
Mm.
and allowing the people that are ready to receive that to show up.
I'm going to take exactly what you just said. Like earlier, like I said, I'm feel like I'm confusing my clients. It's getting clear for me, for myself, on exactly I'm not the shiny fitness person. I'm not the shiny um, coach. I'm going to do that differently. And how can I unhide with that? How can I shine brighter with that? Because the clients that do have me, they see it and they're like, Joanna, you're just like a secret, so to speak. And I'm like, how do I get clear?
So I think too, a big part of it is trust and faith. Faith that it's okay. Like for me, it took a lot of faith and trust for me to really go, you know what? I'm not going to focus on business. It's still in there. I still have conversations about it, but
Mm,
I'm going to talk about what do you want and these basic questions, because
mm,
I know that's going to move and impact and help more people.
mhm,
But it took a lot of faith for me to do that. And so as I look at
mm,
this year coming up, for example, I'm helping all the ladies right now. We're all creating our annual blueprints, which is a one-page plan for the year. And my big one annual goal, like my theme for the year, I feel like it's going to be something along the lines of, having faith in the fun. And
mhm,
what I mean by that is just trusting that, if I, like what you were just saying, just trusting that that's true. And not because it was almost the way you said it just now, was almost like it was a question. How can I? You can by just knowing,
mm,
just being, just believing. And we hear a lot of that. And I think people make fun of it. I think you have to do it in the right way. You have to be clear. You have to legitimately feel good, not BS feel good.
mm,
But I think if you do, and you're using those tools and able to be present and feel good and ask questions, you can have faith that it's all going to work itself out. those right people will show up. I think oftentimes when we're as the business owners or the coaches or the consultants or the trainers, when we're trying to figure out how can I get that perfect client, we actually attract the unperfect client because they're trying to figure out how can I do this, wanting this kind of different way of doing things, the old school way of doing things that we were saying we didn't want to do anymore. And so when we're saying how can I do this, it's almost like we're attracting exactly what we don't want. But if we just trust and believe and get really clear and can really stand in that place of this is what I want and this is what I'm expecting, and this is the action that I feel the impulse to take, and this is what's really working for me and why, to just boost you up. And then ask yourself, what's the upgrade out here? What else is possible? That's going to create more. That's going to bring those ideal clients to you.
What else is possible? Oh, Marianne, I came in, I was like, we're just going to do 30 minutes, but dang, this is too good. I know everybody's like, more. And Erica, she put a comment, my two favorite people. And this is so good. Thanks, Erica, for watching and listening. Oh, Marianne, I will definitely, we're going to do this again. And it was like, you reached out to me and I'm like, yeah, why haven't she been on the podcast? Like,
I want to be on your podcast.
Duh. It was like, yeah, I know. That was pretty dumb. Okay. Come on, Joanna. Like, I didn't even think. So funny. So thank you for reaching out because that was a gift. This
right.
was
And
so good.
This creates more. Like I have enjoyed this so much. Having these really good conversations and just chewing on questions and getting curious and having fun. The energy of that is just what we need more of in the world. Really great conversation. Thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you, Marianne, for helping contribute. Because every time I have these conversations, I walk away and the ripple effect that my life has, hopefully that your life has, everybody listening just from this one conversation. And thank you for helping me name the Get Up Girl. And thank you for everything over the years, Marianne.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything. Just congratulations on spreading this all these tools and sharing it with other people, because I then share it, right? And it helps other people. It's really cool when people around me go, I asked my so-and-so what their favorite moment of the day was. So knowing that you were the ripple effect in somebody else's life. Yeah. And everybody, if they're interested in working with you, they can go to, it's momentumsquad.com. It's not the, so there's no the, momentumsquad.com. You can also, are you mostly on Facebook more than Instagram?
Yeah, but I am on Instagram as well. So you can find me there, but mainly Facebook.
The Get Up Diva on Instagram. Yeah, we'll have everything in the show notes, but go to momentumsquad.com. Her website has so many tools. I mean, she has about 4,000 websites, but you'll find something. Go to that one. Okay. Like we said, we're always changing and evolving. That's why I'm like, they're like, you've been with her for 15 years. You don't know her website? Hey, she has a lot. As I, right? I'm like, I have so many. So which one are we going to go to? Side note, love you, Marianne. Thank you so much for being here.
Love you too. Thank you so much, sweetie.
And until next time, if you want different in your life, remember to choose different. Love you all. Let's get back up and let's energetically expand. Thanks, Marianne. We'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.